big like paper event you played in?
GP Bilbao a couple of weeks ago, modern. I just missed day two. The last round was a bit of a rough one. I was playing Dredge, lethal on board, and then he top decks Kalitas to just steal the game, and
Yikes.
then game three, multi 5, one lander, don't draw another land, and die. And everything else I lost was mirrors, so the deck was really good. But yeah, other than that, it's all been modern GPs actually. My last 3 GPs have all been modern. So we do have some bigger legacy events in the UK as well, which I don't remember how I do it them honestly. I always forget because I don't know.
Yeah, I don't keep a tally of what events I've gone to recently or anything like that. But it's probably been a couple of months since I played a paper Magic tournament.
Do you always play D&T at them?
Overwhelmingly, the answer to that question is yes. But for a long time, I owned like 4x of almost all of Legacy, so I had the flexibility to change.
That's cool.
Played Red Prison here and there. I played a really bad hybrid D&T Eldrazi list at an open one time. That did not necessarily go well, but I don't regret trying it out. The list was sweet. Yeah. I can say that I have registered Flame Tongue Kavu in Legacy with no shame.
That build I loved. I remember reading about it. It's like, God, this is... I think actually in our London chat, we, Cavan on Kavu became like a bit of a meme. We just kept saying it all in capitals because that's fun. Yeah. I think we got a few people playing at our local store just by shouting this about because it's so cool. Because I remember playing Flame Tongue Kavu when I first started playing. So
every once in a while there are those like feel good throwback cards that you just like really love having the opportunity to play, and that's definitely one of them.
This is kind of how I feel about Buried Alive. This has always been, it's such a pet card for so many people. I think it's, you'd play it and you'd get all the old things. That'd be like a Chroma Angel of Wrath and the thing that's like the 6/5 first strike haste, like Spirit of the Night. And Symbiotic Worm, all these kind of like random old reanimation targets, and you play stitched together and terrible cards. Maybe it's just me, but I don't know, Buried Alive is a complete pet card, so it's kind of that's how I feel about it in this deck.
Well, why don't we go ahead and lead into a deck here. So good evening, folks. My name's Phil Gallagher. I run Thraben University, a site for legacy, death, and taxes. Today I'm joined by Callum Smith, aka White Faces, who has been one of the big people mucking around with the Grixis Phoenix and other Phoenix variations that we've seen recently. So why don't you give us the 30-second rundown? Who are you?
Yeah, so as I was just saying now, I've played Legacy for quite a long time. I've been playing Magic for quite a long time. Got into it I remember buying packs of Tempest when I was really, really young and opening Lotus Petals and thinking, wow, this is the worst land I've ever seen because it dies. So yeah, got into started playing drafts and stuff around Onslaught. And then took a bit of a break from, I think it was Shadowmoor-ish. And then right in the Strad, got back into it. I used to play loads of extended, mostly blue-eye control decks, so Ice Concept with Counterspell and all that kind of stuff. And then got back into it. And then because I was into extended before, jumped straight back into Legacy. And yeah, Miracles was exactly like the natural go-to after playing these blue-eye control slide decks. So kind of got into Miracles and then discovered more and more about Legacy and just got completely immersed in it. And from then, I don't know, just played it more and more and became addicted again.
And you end up going down the rabbit hole into weird places that involve casting Buried Alive.
Exactly, yeah, as you do.
Of course, we've all been there. I don't know if you saw my Saturday stream, but I was casting the 3-mana Kaya, so...
I saw a little bit of that, actually.
It was a disaster.
I think that card is good though. I really do. It might have a place fringy one of Cyborg card in Legacy, but I think it's got potential in Modern as well. I don't know. It's one of these 3-mana Planeswalkers are just powerful if they have relevant abilities. And if
it's one of those things you raise an eyebrow at and go is this?
Yeah.
Probably not, but
taking cards out of graveyards is powerful in Legacy. Removing 1 mana cost things is powerful as well. There's vials, there's chalices, there's stuff. 3 mana is not a lot. It's if she was in blue, if it was blue-black, I think she was a lot of play, or blue-white, obviously. but the color combination is kind of harsh on it. But I don't know. I think there is potential for Kaya, but the rest of the deck looked a bit iffy.
All right. So let's kind of talk about the matchup now. So for this
Yeah.
D&T versus Phoenix matchup, how are you going to approach this?
So D&T, well, the most obvious thing is doesn't play like any counter magic. So you play no stack disruption. So I'm just trying to like get my combo off. So if anyone doesn't know about the combo, like Buried Alive and Dark Ritual kind of combo together because obviously you cast the Buried Alive off the Dark Ritual, and these count towards the 2 of 3 spells for Arclight Phoenix. So you really just need to go like Dark Ritual, Buried Alive, and then any other spell. The Lotus Petal helps this accelerate into this potentially turn 1, or very often you like put like cantrip on turn 1, and turn 2 you get to discard them, especially against blue decks you want to have this way, and then Dark Ritual, Buried Alive, and then turn 2 you're attacking with 3 Phoenixes, which like a lot of the criticisms of the deck was this is just a worse reanimator, or this is just a worse storm if you're playing Dark Ritual. The power of the thing is it's so low resources. You're using 2 cards for your combo, where like reanimator is also using 2 cards, but it's so much more immune to graveyard hate. And this deck, as we'll get to in a minute, plays other cards that are better against graveyard. Like so many times I've therapied someone and seen surgicals, and you just play your Dark Confidence and Pyromancers, and you hardcast your Phoenixes all the time. So
Yeah, sort of the big
yeah,
difference between this and Reanimator is that you have a real mid-range shell that you can
yeah,
play when the combo game is not going to be
yeah.
successful.
I never thought how much you would hardcast Phoenixes. Like, it sounds stupid, but Dark Ritualing a Phoenix on turn 2, like, it's a Delver
It's a
attacking on turn
flipped
2.
Delver.
It's like, yeah, you use an extra card, but a lot of people use extra cards for worse things. Um, so yeah, sorry. So the D&T matchup, I'm just trying to be fast. Like, as I said, you have no stack interaction. You're not going to be able to stop the combo, especially game 1, just like that in the stack. So if I let you get control, if you get like a Mother Runes and a Flicker Wisp out, that's going to block a Phoenix for eventually, forever. I mean, if like Thalia really hampers the deck, if I'm too slow, Battle Skull can raise Phoenixes or like at least help. Jitte is really powerful if you're not like super far behind on board already. So I'm really just trying to not let you enact your game plan, which is live essentially. Like I'm just trying to kill you as fast as possible.
All right. And as far as the sideboard goes, we have 8 very powerful sideboard cards that are going to be good at answering my permanent base disruption. What are you going to be looking to cut in order to bring those in?
Exactly. So just to be clear, I'm bringing in 2 Corona Makers, 3 Braids, 2 Izzet Steadicasters, and the Colligan's Command. We were talking before, there's an argument for Echoing Truth, but I think there's just enough things to be body in. So I'm going to be cutting the Pyromancers. They are slightly anemic in the matchup. They're really like a what's the right word? Like a distraction for a lot of decks, where they're a distraction against you, and they just don't matter very much against what you're trying to play towards, which is that equipment as a late game. So they're not a distraction that are good enough to stop that. I'm also going to be cutting the Cabal Therapies. There's an argument for like cutting a split of Thought Season Therapy, but due to how D&T sideboards at the moment, it's hard to guess exactly what you're going to have turn 2. So is it Thalia, Containment Priest? Do you have a Surgical, Fairy Macabre? There's so many hate cards basically, like Sanctum Prelate. So it's too much of a guessing game. It's too much of a risk to miss off it and then get hate bed from something else. So leave the 4 Thought Seasons in, but it's debatable that play draw matters as well. Like the Cabal Therapy is 2 spells if you have a creature in play, but because we're boarding up Pyromancers, they're weaker to flashback as well. And then I'm going to cut a Preordain. A Preordain could be like just bad boarding. I've got one too many cards to bring in. But again, I'm just trying to be fast in the matchup. Preordain is the worst of the cantrips, and it's slower. Like it's not what you want to be doing against the Thalia taxing deck and stuff. So again, just trying to be fast and have to be wary of surgical.
All right. So on my side, in game 1, like one of the most important cards is probably Thalia, Guardian of Thraben. It can go and sort of like stop the combo elements or make it extremely difficult to combo off. Once a Thalia is in play, there's kind of a shift on the Phoenix side to going towards the mid-range, like Bob hardcast Phoenix plan rather than trying to combo. Now, it's not impossible to, it's just much harder. And I'll be looking to try to drag the game out to the late game using things like Thalia, Sanctoprelate, Port, Wasteland, so that my equipment package can take over the game. as he's already said, Batter Skull, Jitte, even Sword of Fire and Ice, any one of these in play on a creature is going to make racing much, much harder on the Phoenix side.
Especially game one, prelate is horrific. You saw the mana curve.
Just to pull this up again, there's 27 1-drops in this deck. So a Chalice on 1 is devastating.
Yeah, Chalice on 1 is devastating, but prelate on 1 is even worse because I can't cast the spells. I don't think I can actually... If you prelate on 1 game 1, I don't think the Phoenix is ever coming out of the graveyard. Like, I have to cast 3 Buried Lives. There's not 9 lands to cast them.
So, in the post-sideboard games, I'm going to be picking up some Graveyard Hate and Chalice of the Void. Again, Chalice/Prelate's power is pretty clear. Chalice has some awkwardness in this matchup because, like, Mom is still a fine card, Swords to Plowshares is still a fine card. So it's not just, like, free, but it's still quite good. So we're going to be picking up 6 cards, and then I'm going to be trimming a little bit. Revoker's obviously quite bad. There's some utility in sniping the post-board Is It Staticaster, but I don't think that's worth keeping one in the deck for. Palace Jailer, not great against Hasty Phoenixes, and to a lesser extent against Young Pyromancer if that was staying in. And then we just do a little bit of trimming. Brightling isn't really fast enough for this matchup, and I'd like to be using my mana on equipment in the late game. Swords to Plowshares is great against Bob, but kind of medium versus Phoenix. And I trim a Flicker Wisp as well just because it's slow. It's possible doing something like trimming another Flicker Wisp is better than trimming the Swords to Plowshares, but I kind of do want to take at least some nod to my own Chalice here.
That all makes sense to me.
All right. So, folks, just so you have the idea what we're going to do, momentarily I'm going to go ahead and hang up this call, and then we're just going to jam matches. We'll play, hour and a half, 2 hours, whenever we feel like we've got a good feel for the matchup. We'll just kind of stop, do a 5-minute sort of debrief sort of thing, and call it a day. All right, so anything you want to say before we get started here?
No, just let me nut draw you. Let's go.
All right, sounds good. Talk to you in a bit. All right. So I'm glad this is finally happening. This is something that I've been talking about for quite some time, by the way. But the first time we tried to do this, he had been overseas and was a little bit worn out from some sort of music fest. I guess he's always overseas. I don't know why I said. He was out of town for some sort of music festival. And he got back relatively late on Sunday night. Sorry, let me mute those Moto sounds. And wasn't up for the stream on Monday. My hand is kind of medium, so I'm really hoping that he doesn't just combo me. This is technically not the combo. Double Dark Confidant is rough, but this is a great start. We have Swords to Plowshares for the first one. We have Thalia to mitigate some of the power of the second, but a Thoughtseize effect will be bad. Well, I'm glad. So, like, the Phoenix deck is new enough and it's been changing enough where a lot of things have been shifting around. Oh god, Dark Ritual Buried Alive. Alright. So, best possible draw is probably just Wrath of God, Plains, and Dark Ritual in that order. Like, we're just getting nutted here. It doesn't matter. We're just dead on board to the Phoenixes. Rough! Welcome to the matchup. Just consider how different that game might have been if we were on the draw. Or sorry, if we were on the play and we got to stick that Thalia before all of those shenanigans happened. But we just got murdered. I do nothing a lot. That was a very good hand from Phoenix. Like, turn 1 double Bob into turn 2, Rit Buried Alive Phoenix. that's a bit unusual. That was the nut draw that my opponent was hoping to see. So again, like we talked about, we're going to get rid of Jailer, Brightling, a Flicker Wisp, 2 Revokers, and then I'll probably trim a Mom. Now, a Dark Ritual into Buried Alive on turn 1, now that's like totally reasonable, right? Or like Buried Alive, Dark Ritual, and a Cantrip on turn 2, that's fine as well. I'm going to keep this. I have 3 great different turn 2 hate pieces. And that's about the best that I can ask for here. You know, I can't just like mulligan to one of the surgical extractions. One of the things that we talked about prior to the stream starting was that many of the games are not interesting, but they can become quite interesting. And is he just going to like have the combo plus the cantrip? Am I going to get like super punished for not playing Chalice on 0? Because that would be rough. All right, double Bob again. Here we go. So how do I want to do this? I can just like stick the Chalice on 1, or I can play a Thalia. If I play the Thalia, it makes the Bobs worse. If I play the Chalice, it makes the Bobs worse. Kind of end up in similar spots. I think in terms of my mana efficiency over time, it's probably better if I play the Chalice first. Although doing so would mean, I guess either way, I'm not going to be playing a Swords to Plowshares. The ideal is if I play Thalia that my opponent doesn't have a land. But if they have a removal spell, they just like remove Thalia and then I lose a lot of ground. So I'm going to stick the Chalice. I think it's a close decision and either way is fine. Alright, a K command and a polluted delta. So kind of the way that I'm imagining this going is that I cast Thalia. Thalia will die to maybe an Abrade, maybe an Izzet Staticaster. It'll probably die to something. And then on my following turn, I get to play Avenger and Thalia. Snapples, I don't think we have the luxury of being able to try to stop the combo. We've got to hope that the combo already has been stopped by the Chalice and the Thalia, because this alone is going to be good enough to beat us. That is our current issue. So, like, this Rest in Peace now is kind of a dead card, right? Like, it's technically doing something, theoretically. But my best chance of winning now is bleeding out my opponent with their own Bobs. Yeah, I'm live about an hour earlier than normal to make the time zones work better for Callum. Yep. I was afraid of that happening. I knew it was going to happen, but you've got to, like, play it out. Alright. So, like, we can technically do things now. We can Swords to Plowshares and Izzet Staticaster. That way the Thalia becomes a live card. Greatness at any cost. What do you got? I have a Thalia. What can you do? Didn't think so. It doesn't particularly matter what I port. I think I'm just going to go and attack a blue source. You know, make it harder to do things like, you know, ponder main phase or something like that. The brainstorm was kind of what was likely to be in hand, but like anything that I port is like that's going to happen anyway. And I'd rather force the mana decision prior to the Bobs. Yikes. I mean, I will take one of these out because, like, even though potentially, like, the Bobs becomes my way to win this, I don't know that I can just let both of these go unchecked. All right, Recruiter of the Guard. That's not bad. So I guess I can recruit her in for Stoneforge and try to get a piece of equipment online next turn. If I had one more mana, I'd just get like a Flicker Wisp. And I do think I'm probably supposed to hold the Thalia back. I don't think I'm going to like end up in that world where I'm gonna get Jitte. I think the worlds where I win might involve connecting with Jitte. Yikes. Staticaster is very strong here. Well, that dealt them a lot of damage. However, that being said, I don't know that the damage is going to matter. So Staticaster can take out Thalia. This is going to get interesting. Like I'm still very, very far behind. My opponent has 10 cards in hand. But we'll see if I can make anything of this. I think the Jitte is probably safe from discard, because Thoughtseizes, not Cabal Therapies, are in the deck at this time. Alright, so there go the Buried Alives. Alright. So, how do I win? I probably win by my opponent killing himself with Bob. If I just attack in with everything, Thalia dies to Staticaster, a Bob trades with Recruiter, a Bob trades with Stoneforge in all likelihood, leaving me with no board and them with 7-ish cards in hand. Probably 6, maybe 5. So I don't really know that my attacks are profitable. So I almost like just passing the turn and not allowing my opponent to abrade the Jitte this turn. And we'll just stare at each other, and I'll kind of hope that my opponent like, doesn't see the line of Staticaster bolt their bobs to kill them? Yes. Because that's like 100% my plan. Braid the Stoneforge. Alright, well. So I'm going to try to take them off of all of their red right now, in the hopes that this Jitte either gets destroyed now or makes it around. My opponent is going to have some ability to use, like, ponders and brainstorms to fix the top of the library in order to take the minimal amount of damage possible from these bobs. So I'm going to take 4 this turn. I'm going to need something that won't die to Izzet Staticaster. Dark Ritual into Phoenix will kill me here as well. Or just Pork Bolt. Alright. So we're 2 very authoritative wins from my opponent there. So we are currently 0-1. Let's try again. So our opponent has mulliganed, so maybe we won't see as ridiculous of a start this time. Mulligan twice. That's probably going to put them in a rough position. So now we have a start of, like, Mom into Stoneforge. Never mind. We have a start of Aether Vial into Mom and Stoneforge in the same turn. We have Wasteland if our opponent has to fetch a non-basic. And this is kind of what we want to see going on here. Best draw would probably be Thalia. I think I'm just going to try to drag this one out. I think I want to Wasteland this Underground Sea rather than... Well, maybe I do want to Rashad Port. It's a little greedy, too. But I'm going to go ahead and be a little bit greedy. So why it's greedy is that, like, this Underground Sea might be used for, like, a spell during the upkeep. And it might contribute to, like, the 3rd spell being cast for, like, Dark Ritual, Buried Alive, Brainstorm, or something like that. And playing the port means that I can go Hardcast Recruiter into Thalia on my turn. The Young Pyromancer is not all that much of a concern. Wow, okay. So now, instead I'm going to go on a heavy mana denial plan. So, like, let's just get that out of here. Let's play another land. Activate Vial. Yes. Put in Thalia. We'll pass, port them, and then on my turn I can Recruiter for Prelate on 1. And that should just about finish everything off. This time we're getting to do what we want. The bully hat is on the other head. I love it when my opponent's entire turn is ponder. That feels so good. Yep, that's the concession point right there. Like, I have Thalia plus, like, Sanctum Prelate on 1. The board is empty. I have cards in hand. There's the landslide in the other direction. So again, we'll kind of approach things as before. You know, probably Chalice of the Void, Surgical, Rip. No, Negator. It's not really overlay issues. I'm using OBS rather than Streamlabs today. So this is my normal setup for guest streams. So I have a spot for the camera, but we're not doing video right now. So it's intentional. It's just awkward. All right, so we have 6 cards that we want to bring in. We'll kind of do the same thing as before, where we'll cut our Revokers, Palace Jailer, Brightling, and I'm not sure like whether or not it's better to like cut one more Flicker Wisp or one more Mom. That's probably pretty close. Let's cut a Flicker Wisp this time. Because like we definitely saw how last game, like answering the Bobs can be very, very important. And there's those Is It Statocasters to think about as well. I'll be keeping this hand. We have Thalia. We don't have the Graveyard Hate, but, you know, if our opponent goes all in on a Bob on turn 1 or something, we're well suited to fight that. You kind of have to keep a lot of average hands with D&T in the hopes that, like, your fair game can get there, because you don't have enough hate to just mulligan towards beating the combo. Tom, by the way, did you do relatively well in the challenge or something? I thought I saw your name pop up somewhere. Or if not the challenge, the paper event. All right, so we are going to have a game. I foresee myself wanting to hide this Caracas, and I probably want access to the port more than I want access to the 3rd white source in following turns. A top 8. There we go. I like to see that. God, is it Statocaster? Don't be Is It Statocaster! Don't do it! Alright, so I'm going to bounce this now. I don't want to get into the awkward stare-off where I actually lose this card. And we are kind of in luck. We have multiple threats in hand that just, on their own, beat out the Is It Statocaster. I'm going to choose Sword of Fire and Ice to try to get protection from this and, like, wiggle around it without actually having to remove it. Yeah, I got bullied in the challenge. I thought I should play D&T, but I had kind of a bad week, and I was like, you know, I don't really want to dedicate the amount of my day to this event that it takes in order to play D&T. So it's just like, all right, I'm going to play Red Prison. If my rounds don't go well, I don't care. They'll be over in 10 minutes. I can do a lot of other stuff with my day. And I promptly 0-3 dropped with Red Prison. Played against some bad matchups and got a little bit unlucky. So I can take out the one blue source here. That is quite strong. And then play something that can actually start attacking through the Staticaster. Ghost Whisperer, if you want to take a look at the Cardboard Live extension on the left-hand side of the screen, you can see the entire deck list. Yeah, Fork Bolt plus Is It Staticaster, we'll go ahead and remove that. That is strong. But we've brought the game to the point where, like, my good top decks are probably better than many of my opponent's top decks. So as soon as I answer this Is It Staticaster, I'm good to go. I'm also going to literally leave them with no mana. But generally speaking, I do think that Serra Avenger is very good right now. There's a lot of True Name Nemesis running around, a lot of Stoneblade. Naturally drawing like a Batter Skull would be pretty sweet. A Recruiter also would be solid. Wasteland is not great, but I'm obviously going to accept it. I guess there's a world where I can be, like, casting this Thalia in order to, like, let the Stoneforge Mystic attack in for 1. Awesome. I don't really know what I'm going to do with this Recruiter. Should think about that. So I can go Recruiter, get Stoneforge Mystic, play Stoneforge Mystic, and then, so Recruiter, no, it'd be like Recruiter, get Stoneforge Mystic, don't play Stoneforge Mystic, so that I can port and prevent discard from taking it. Although we've already seen all 3 Thoughtseize. I don't need to play around discard. I could just get, like, Prelate, put it on 1, but then that eliminates my outs of Swords to Plowshares. I'm going to get another Stoneforge Mystic. And I will just go ahead and continue to port them. If my opponent goes, like, land into discard spell, I would much rather have them take the Stoneforge than one of the actual remaining pieces of equipment. Oh, wow, the Chalice is great. So I can go Stoneforge, put in Batterskull, and play Chalice. I think I like that. It'll give my opponent mana again. But if I give them mana with the Chalice of the Void in play, I think that's okay. because we can't see something like, you know, buried alive or anything like that without the dark rituals to fuel it. So I could move this over to here, but I think I just want to attack in with everything. Ooh, thank you very much for the donation. I'll take a look at this after that, after this stream is over. So for the rest of the game, I'm going to hold up 3 mana in order to protect my Batterskull from something like an Abrade. But I think the rest of this game is 1 turn. Yeah, there we go. So those were 2 absolute landslide matches in one direction and then the other. Some of that has been my experience with the matchup. Where, like, one person or the other has an extreme advantage by turn 3. Alright, Whiteface is great at winning the die roll. He says, D's landslides. I agree. I am going to keep this hand. This hand is a little soft to turn 1 Thoughtseize for my Ether Vial. There we go. To complete the thought, but we have double, like, Thalia, so that if we draw a land in our first 2 draws, we're actually okay, even if we do lose the Vial. Yeah. Or at least Enavoldson does, at the very least. He's a monster. Alright, so we're going to see a fair mid-range game. I'm kind of out of oomph, and my Thalia is now forced to be on the defensive. I am not favored in this position. So, like, all it really needs to happen is, like, Forked Bolt, Thalia, Dark Ritual, Buried Alive, and the game is, like, pretty much literally over. So we can trade for this Phoenix, and it won't ever come back, right, chat? Chat? Yep. Oh, and I didn't explicitly say so, but Agate, thank you very much for your continued support, by the way. Alright, what am I doing here? I can play the Brightling, try to get some lifelink. I don't really think that's getting me anywhere in the long term. I think I need to try to put some pressure on my opponent before these Phoenixes come back and one-shot me. So we're going to play the awkward Flicker Wisp game, where I Flicker Wisp a Phoenix in order to try and push a little bit of damage. You know what? Can I attack with this Thalia? If I attack with the Thalia, No, no, I can't, because like if they trade their entire board for this, and then just go cantrip, 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 I'll take 9 more damage. I can't do it. That might happen anyway through it. Whoop. This is my opponent's list. It's relatively stock and standard. I assume what's going on behind this right now is just like me dying. Alright, so it has Preordain, Ponder, No Shuffle, Thoughtseize me. All the Phoenixes are going to come back. I can trade for 2 of them. But my opponent will still have 3 cards left and can very likely just bring them back. So this attack is very much in respect of me just attacking back and trying to kill them, which is potentially my out. At the same time, however, I don't think... So I do it. All right, what if I draw a land for Sword of Fire and Ice? I think I need to keep... Am I dead on the crackback next turn? So if I take 3 here, I go to 14. This is 9. I'll block these 2. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Not technically lethal, but very close. Yeah, I'm just going to trade 1. And then hope nothing bad happens. Alright, I did not draw the land. That probably means I am dead. Play it out for the stream, but I don't expect to win from here. Missing that land drop was huge. I mean, I've got other clear issues going on here, right? But I just think that means I'm not coming back. Oh, Fork Bolt. So that kills Mom and Thalia, and then I'm probably dead this turn. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Not technically, but the outs are basically gone. I would have to, like, leave Dark Confidant. We're done. Alright, so once again, same plan. Chalice in, Surgical in, Rip in, Jailer out, Wisps out, Brightling out, Revoker out, and we'll go from there. This is borderline a mulligan. I'm going to keep it because I can attack on 2 fronts. I can attack just like an early ritualed out Bob, or I can attack the combo side of the deck. Again, I'm soft to Thoughtseize, but I've got enough going on here that's positive that I probably shouldn't ship this one. Yeah. Dark Ritual, Buried Alive, Ponder in the same turn. Womp, 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 womp. So now we need to just, like, draw a whole bunch of Swords to Plowshares off the top. So that means I can't really play the Chalice. Yeah, it's only 6 damage a turn instead of 9. Great. So, like, we're just dead in 2 turns. Dead in 1 if my opponent has, like, a bolt effect. Actually, do I have any outs at this point? So, like, I'm guaranteed taking 6 going to 2, and then I can't draw something that can answer both Phoenixes. Yep, I'm just dead. I've got to get better at winning die rolls. That's the big issue here. Phoenix, pretty okay Magic card, it seems. Yeah, I ran out and I got 3 shiny Tricos on Community Day. I mean, yeah, like, there is a clear correlation between Death and Taxes' win percentage and winning the die roll in Game 1. Like, it's huge. Okay. So he just made a crack about winning 4 die rolls in a row. So we're actually just going to skip that one so that we can do some with me on the play. So I do nothing a lot. Why don't we address that when we do the debrief at the end, and then we can ask Callum what he thinks. So we have a great opener here. I don't think I want this Brightling. It's okay. But I'd rather have more disruptive and interactive things. So, like, for example, if I lose one of these cards to a discard spell, yep, I would much rather draw something other than the Brightling that I can do. Like that. Which one of these do I want? I think my hand sucks, so I kind of want to get Sword of Fire and Ice and use its card draw to dig myself out of this situation. I don't even know if, like, Sword of Fire and Ice is going to make it around the table. Like, another Cabal Therapy or Thoughtseize will take it. Could just, like, lose to the combo here. Yeah, there we go. So now a Flicker Wisp would be a pretty stellar draw. We're not in the position of losing to the combo currently, which is nice. However, we do have other worries. Namely, that we have our opponent on an 18-turn clock. Still no regrets on bottoming the Brightling. I wonder how close my opponent is to going off. Because it can just, like, happen with, like, Petal, Dark Ritual, and Buried Alive here. Or equivalent. Joke's on you, Callum. I have Jack. I am going to send this to 3. It enables some of my most broken things that I can do. Namely, like, drawing Recruiter and then immediately viling in Prelate. Alright. I expect that next turn I will just get Phoenixed. So this is going to be a big turn for me. I can't draw dead here. That is not drawing dead. We have a real game now. So my opponent can go and turn all the Phoenixes sideways. Thoughtseize? No. I was really hoping this Brightling was going to get to be a surprise. This is not the way that this is going down. Brightling really wanted to be in this game, by the way. Like, I scryed it to the bottom, and I shuffled once with Stoneforge, and it came back. Alright, they are on defense. Alright, so what am I doing? If I attack in with the Brightling, my opponent can double block it to kill it. Is that fine? Not really. I'd really just like to go wide of them and get a kill in one turn. Because I think it's somewhat likely if I try to, like, trade Brightling, it's just not going to work out in my favor. So let's deny the mana and reevaluate next turn. Yeah, Darkview, I agree. I think as this game goes longer, since my opponent is at a very low life total, and, like, I have a lot of mana available to me, that things are going my way. This is annoying. Flicker Wisp. I can do so many things. Mr. Too Spooky, think about more than one blocker. So if my opponent has this Cabal Therapy, so if I blink my Stoneforge, I don't actually get it anywhere. Like, I get a piece of equipment, but I can't put it in. So I think I attack in with my creatures. And see what my... Oh, blink it in the end step is a good line. I like that a lot. Yeah, I will accept that I will be sad about both. That's fine. Opponent has 2 cards. Don't have it, don't have it, don't have it, don't have it, don't have it. Yes! Yeah, generally speaking, very little true combat math ends up happening in Legacy, right? So my Sword of Fire and Ice is gone, so I will have to get Jitte. But I think that's fine. I mean, I could get Batterskull as well. So, like, Batterskull's not amazing against, like, the Young Pyromancer, but if I can, like, go and put the Batterskull onto something else, then that's probably insurmountable. So this is kind of why we didn't, like, try to aggressively trade our bodies for these earlier. Yeah, okay, so there's the land to go and equip Batterskull. I will just play this out in case I need to do Brightling things for some reason. So this leaves me with Port, put in Batterskull, and protect Brightling. Yeah, I will say, like, one of the things that, like, streaming with a lot of decks has taught me is, like, how to get better at combat math. Like, I know D&T is a creature-based deck and everything, but it doesn't actually do very much combat math, right? Like, most of the time your combat is very simple. Oh, the board stalled. You know, divide power of my flyer by opponent's life total, or other way around. Opponent's life total by power of my flyer. Abandon hope with Cabal Therapy? Or do you get to do something cute? Virtue's Ruin for Cabal Therapy. Also strong. Buried Alive. So this will probably search for a Phoenix plus 2 cards they don't want to draw. Yeah, 2 Dark Confidants. Makes sense. So this is a game 1 scenario. So there are no outs to this Batterskull. It's here forever. A Fork Bolt takes out a Flicker Wisp, that's fine. I will just be taking that 9 damage, and then I'll be putting the Batter Skull onto the Serra Avenger. That's insane. I'm not going to use this Flicker Wisp yet. I'm going to save this until I need it. So, for example, a triple block on Serra Avenger to try to get rid of it might be a time where I would consider that. Yes. Yes. That feels good. Do I want to play out this land? I don't think I need to play out this land. I think I've just got, like, lethal with Avenger next turn. And I'd rather just, like, bluff having a card. Limit the blue a little bit. A young Pyromancer. That's not going to do anything. So I don't think they can get the Phoenixes back, because it's going to take 3, and they only can do, like, Preordain plus another thing off of this. Oh no, there's Cabal Therapy. Cabal Therapy can do it. I do nothing a lot. I don't remember the exact scenario there. It's possible that I missed lethal. Alright, so if I attack in, they'll go for the triple block again. In which case, I just equip to another flyer next turn. If I attack in with both, they can trade for everything and then potentially get the Phoenixes back. The win condition is probably my opponent's Bob. So I kind of just want to... I still probably just do the attack. I really just need to be gaining this life, because the token army might just overwhelm me at some point. Brightling can prevent a lot of that, though. Alright, so now I can't move this somewhere else other than the Sarah Avenger, so like that's just going to be the turn here. A Brainstorm. So I'm not porting here intentionally. There may be some weird worlds where I may need to do a lot of things with Brightling, or I might need to like bounce the Batterskull or something. So the top of the library should be set up for Dark Confidant to not deal damage. Swords of Plowshares is quite good. Not amazing, but quite good. Just keep making this Sarah Avenger attack until it seems like a bad idea. So now we get to take one of those out. Gain a whole bunch more life. Do I need... Just gonna hold it this time. A Lotus Petal. And again, I think we're past the point where mana is going to be a bottleneck for anything. And like we have the various Phoenixes answered, so like hard casting them isn't something I need to worry about anymore. I wonder if this is just like buried alive. Oh no, Cabal Therapy. Results. Alright, another Bob. That's a limited use at this point. So I still think I go and make that play. I need to go to my next main phase here. And so I think I play Thalia. And then I think I'm actually not supposed to equip the Batter Skull, because it may decrease my ability, the ability of my opponent to actually cast the 3 spells necessary in order to return the Phoenixes. And if my opponent can't return the Phoenixes, then I just like equip the Batter Skull and I have lethal. If my opponent doesn't return the Phoenixes, I'm fine on life. So this is like 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. This is 30 damage on board. The 30 damage is fine. If they return the Phoenixes, it's theoretical 39, and I'm good on that front. So awkward as it is, I think I just port. And we'll be attacking blue mana here. Badlands. Twice? No, Badlands Lotus Petal. Yeah, okay, that's fine. Dark Ritual is fine. Buried Alive is fine. Yeah, things got a little weird. I presume there's going to be one more spell here. Yeah, Flashback Cabal Therapy. Sure. Gloom. That's a strong name. This is not a lethal attack. It will probably be a lethal attack the next turn, though. So I can stop a Pyromancer. I want to leave the Bob, I guess. How am I looking to win this? So I will probably just die on my next turn to this token army. So I need to get these out of the way. How do I get 2 out of the way? My Sword of Fire and Ice is gone. That would have been the easy thing. Alright, what happens if I equip Brightling with Batter Skull? So I could gain 5, 6... Or, sorry, I can 5 to equip, give it lifelink. I can gain 9. That's not going to be good enough. I'm taking a crap ton here. So I think I leave the bobs. I'll block like this. Give this life link. And increase it a little bit. What does that do? I think nothing. So I can equip. I can equip Batterskull to Thalia. Attack in with 6 first strike. My opponent could throw, like, literally their entire board in front of it to kill it. But that would be fine. So what if I attack him with my Wisp, too? So if I attack him with my Wisp as well, I can throw all of the tokens in front of it. That gets through my first strike damage. I guess this is kind of an all or nothing thing, right? But I really don't want the Thalia to go. So I can attack in with a Wisp as well. In which case, they probably just trade a Phoenix for it. If I attack him with both, they trade a Phoenix for a Flicker Wisp, and then just chump block the Thalia, probably. Just gonna attack him with a Thalia. I don't think the Wisp attack is going to be high enough on the risk-reward scale that it's where I want to be. I mean, I'm on a pretty big monitor, and things are already pretty hard as is. Alright, so there's just a chump block here. So I can't cast the Jitte, so I'll just pass the turn now. Come on, Bobs, do some work. Blue to Delta. Thoughtseize. That's probably uncastable. Cabal Therapy resolves. Presumably again naming Flicker Wisp. Yep. So that gets a Bob out of here. Are there more Thoughtseizes or more Cabal Therapies? There is another Cabal Therapy, so they can also send away their other Bob. Choosing not to. That's a weird game. That is quite strong. Alright, I haven't done all the math yet, but if there's some elementals being held back, that means this is not lethal. So it's 10, 24, 25, 26, plus 9, 34. So I probably have to, like, actually kill Bob this time. Yeah, so opponent did have lethal there. Unfortunately, I don't think it matters. Again, math is real hard on this board. So I can go Thalia, attack in, put myself up to 9 life. I can gain 5, put myself to 14 life, and still just be very dead, so I'm effectively at 20. Alright, what if I Vigilance? Alright, whatever. I'm playing this out. I'm not going to think about it. I'm just going to, like, do things. Alright, so lifelink. Vigilance. I can equip Brightling. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I think I'm too late for that. Like, I messed up. I guess we still do it and I just waste a mana. I think I'm dead either way, right? Just like math. So I guess I could have gotten... So like I can gain 8 here, go to 18, block 2 of this, still be well beyond dead. And that's... Yeah, so like gaining 18 total is not enough. So like there's 29 alone. That was insane. I'm mostly just kind of like drained after playing that game. That was insane. Alright, so again, Jailer's out. Revoker's out. I was trimming Flicker Wisps. I think we saw like the best possible like Brightling scenarios that game, but that's a game 1 scenario, and I think it's one of the weaker cards as a whole. So I think it's between like Mom and Flicker Wisp for what to cut from here. And I think it's close. Like at first I was doing a split, and then I switched to Flicker Wisps in order to like try to get the mobs to stick and protect the cards that actually matter. But it's kind of a wash. Like with Izzet Staticaster and Fork Bolt on the other side of the table, they're both going to die relatively easily. If anything, I'm gonna like time out while playing this game, which is fine. So we have the surgical to go and protect against the phoenixes, assuming it just doesn't get thought seized, and otherwise, like, we have a strong equipment-based start. I get Batterskull with this first one in order to turn it into a threat. So this is great. So we get to Swords the Bob, and then put Batterskull in at my opponent's end step. If we eat it to an Abrade or a K command here, so be it. We've got another piece of equipment down the pipe. I do think I just want to get Jitte counters this turn, honestly. So this will be insulating me from opposing Bobs, and it'll also stop making, like, Forked Bolt be something that can remove this Stoneforge. It's possible that, like, playing Avenger and Stoneforge Mystic in tandem is going to be better than that. But I kind of like this. Thoughtseize is rough. Takes my surgical, meaning the phoenixes get to, like, run free. Ah, my opponent's last two cards in hand are the other two Arclight Phoenixes. Only two Arclights went into the graveyard there. I guess in which case I should just, like, snipe them. Or we can just draw SoFi. I would normally think about this more. I think I just want to pass the turn, put in this Sword of Fire and Ice. Because I don't really think I can lose next turn when I put, like, Avenger and Sword of Fire and Ice together. Yeah, that's the tipping point there. That's not beatable. So Tom, we talked about the boarding plan. The boarding plan is to trim Pyros and Cabal therapies as well as one Preordain for these 8 cards. Callum says $5 to the genius who can guess what's in my hand. I'll keep this. So, like, we have double Swords to Plowshares, which is pretty good. So like we get to lead on like Aether Vial into Double Swords to Plowshares. Dang it! Stop taking my Aether Vials. I don't know. Crusader doesn't seem like it's at the greatest metagame positioning right now, given like all the true names that are running around. Other Aether Vial off the top. Yes! So good at Magic. So that land prior to Ponder makes me think I'm going to get like Thought Seized, or that like I'm close to getting Dark Ritual plus Buried Alive. A Braid on my Vial would be pretty devastating. It could be K command as well. Or Goblin Crater Maker on it. I'm just going to rip this turn and stop the Buried Alive plan from possibly happening. I don't want to Chalice yet, given that I have Double Swords to Plowshare in hand. I don't think I want to play into Staticaster with Athalia. So I think I'm just going to Stoneforge. We'll try to play this one out in a fair way. Take Sword of Fire and Ice. I think he meant protect it from discard. I mean, I don't think I want to play the Chalice and shut off my out to like Bob or Hardcast Phoenix. Like I think once my hand gets torn apart a little more, I'm much more comfortable with that. Like I'm okay with the current trades that I'm making. Guess I'll play that. Yeah, because it can draw into Abrade, Staticasters, and whatnot. And then if I get to cast this other swords, I'll Chalice. Abrade the Vial, sure. Is it Staticaster? Targeting, is it Staticaster? Resolves. Strong. I agree. That's gonna be an awkward misplay. I'm gonna let him ping whatever he wants to ping here, in the sake of having a better game. We're trying to play very quickly due to clock here. Lord Darkview, I don't know if you heard that comment or not, but I did that acting as if he had like tapped down the mom on my turn. So now we'll just let him bleed to death off his own Bob. I can't Chalice on 2. I don't have enough mana with my Thalia. I literally just clicked on the first card that I grabbed there. Dang it, Bob. Scumbag Bob. That was a crazy one. What a match. Sorry, give me 1 second. I'm messaging him to see what he wants to do. All right. So we're gonna do one more here. That one, we're probably not gonna surpass that one as far as like awesomeness of a match. But man, if you were curious about what these games can look like when they do go long, that's it. All right. So I won the die roll. I will be keeping this hand. We have a relatively strong hand with multiple Thalias and Swords to Plowshares. It'll be a little unfortunate if we get Cabal Therapy for Thalia on turn 1. Uno Mas has indeed been called. Alright, really like my chances of winning this game now. Like, that's kind of silly to say, but getting to, like, put this Thalia into play on turn 2 before my opponent has, like, set up a combo is very strong. If my opponent has like some black or red spell that they can cast end step, I really want to be able to wasteland. So I'm awkwardly going to play this out and then cast Mom. Like, it's not really what I want to be doing. Like, I don't want to show this before they fetch, but Swamp is a pretty likely fetch anyway. Bolt the Thalia. Bolting the Thalia happens. I will wasteland the Valk. So the Nightmare World is where they just go like land, Dark Ritual, Buried Alive, Cantrip. And they just like combo off on an opening here. Looks like that is indeed what is going to happen. Cabal Therapy resolves. Which I assume we'll just name Swords to Plowshares. Yep. Good stuff. Yeah, that's actually like worse than the Cantrip route, because now I don't have an out to one of them. So what I'm afraid of here is Cabal Therapy sacrificing one of these to take my Serra Avenger. Oh. That's not what I expected. I expected to lose the Serra Avenger there, because Serra Avenger plus Mom walls these things. Ah, yes. It's late. I meant to take the Serra there. All right. So that was just a misplay. It's not that bad, right? Because like the deck can like potentially just like beat through a Serra Avenger. So like this turn, for example. All right, I'm just gonna give this pro red now so I can have 6. Like the deck can just like potentially beat through this. So like I take out 1 here, take 9, go to 2, and then if I don't draw a flyer, yeah, all right. Yes, it is very late for him. He's on London time. So this should be like between midnight and 1 for him, I think. All right. So Chalice, Rip, Surgicals for Jailer, couple of Wisps, some Revokers, and what I forget, the Brightling. Here we go. We have an okay hand. You know, we basically have to keep the stuff that has Thalia in it. So, like, we have a very strong 1-2 punch of Thalia into Sanctum Prelate if we can get to do it. If Thalia gets therapied, like, exactly the card Therapy, which I don't think is happening because that's getting boarded out. But, like, hypothetically, if it happened, we'd still have Stoneforge into Prelate, which is okay. Daylight savings time, confirmed messed up. All right, a Wasteland would be stellar. Would love, love, love to draw that. There was no shuffle off the Ponder, by the way. So there were goodies there. A Petal. That's not bad. See if there's an is it Staticaster here to make me sad. There is not. I think I just want to like jam crap onto the board and see what sticks. So I think I'm going to go Avenger, followed by a Stoneforge. This Stoneforge is going to get me Sword of Fire and Ice, and then if that gets like discarded, then I can get the Batter Skull as the follow-up and go like Stoneforge into deploy it on my turn. Yeah, there we go. So again, you see this tendency of the landslide games, right? By about turn 3, it's usually very, very clear who's going to go and take down this match. I'm very soft to the combo with this hand. That being said, I think I whack the keep button and hope this is going to be a fairer start. A Dark Ritual. So my hope is that I get to like play Chalice on 1 on my turn and then lock out a lot of the power of this Bob. On the other hand, we could just die. We'll take 11 here, followed by 9 in the air, even if we draw Swords to Plowshares. So we are dead. Yeah, right? That was rough. Alright, so let me see if I can get Callum back on the line. And let's do a quick debrief.
Hello.
Hello, hello.
Hello. Great. That was fun.
That was really fun.
Oh my god, I can't get over that game 1 just now. Holy crap.
Yeah, that was unquestionably the craziest game I played against Phoenix.
Yeah. There was a point where when you did the end of turn Flickwist thing with the Stoneforge, the turn before I was like, a slight thing in my head was like, how I'm losing this is a Flickwist doing that. And I was like, I'm going to therapy, but I wanted the therapy just to keep rebuying Phoenixes. So I was like, okay, I should keep them around. But I was almost thinking, yeah, I'm just going to give up. I'm almost conceded, but no, play it out. That was crazy.
Yeah. All right, so let's kind of talk about our impressions after the match. And I think, in my opinion, one of the biggest things that stand out is how much of a landslide 80% of those games were.
Yeah, absolutely. It was like we discussed it just briefly before signing the stream. I said I think the matchup there's not actually a huge amount of skill to it. Like this play, it's a legacy match. There'll be a lot of decisions, but really, like yeah, I mean, the Phoenix deck, like the last game was a perfect example. I didn't really need to do much. Turn 1 Bob, turn 2 just do it. Like yeah, if you had the surgical, you had the surgical, and I'd probably lose. You didn't, and I won. I think a lot of games do tend to play out like that. Well, from my side, when Phoenix wins, it feels like that. Like the really long game we played was a bit of an anomaly, but yeah.
Yeah, and similarly on my side, you know, when I go like Vile into Thalia when I'm on the play,
yeah,
life's real hard.
Like the game 2 there, where you played the prelate, I had bolt and 2 full bolts in hand.
Yep.
So it's like, yeah, the prelate is just an absolute beating. Like game 2, the Colligan's command is actually because like Chalice players have learned that this deck's main ways to stop things that are on 2. So if you name 2 with prelate and have a Chalice in play, I'm like really locked out. So that's why I play with the Creator Makers as well, because of prelate largely, and Eldrazi. So yeah.
All right. Did any of your, well, I guess first, like the landslide thing is a big one, but anything else you kind of noticed after playing a handful of these?
Um, I think the Phoenix deck has to mulligan quite aggressively to these fast openings. Game like especially in pre-board, there was a couple of hands where like I was keeping them because I was playing as if it was in the dark the whole time. But I think if I knew it was D&T, it was a couple of hands I might have mulliganed. But I think I didn't have. I think most game ones I had fairly fast combos, so it was okay. But there was one or two where I kept because it was like multiple discard spells. And I was like, if it's a blue deck, you really want that. So yeah, I think again, like as we said before, it was just like cemented in my mind that the Phoenix deck just needs to be fast against you.
Yeah. So
Again, it's not common you can grind through Brightling and Batterskull Skull.
one of the things I noticed on my end with my mulligans is that I kept a lot of my hands, but every time it was like, okay, I can beat the combo side here, I can beat the fair side here, and I kind of have to hope that my draw is lining up well.
Yeah, that just speaks to the power of this deck, really. Like, I think you're basically forced to keep these hands because, yeah, you just have no idea what I'm doing, and if like the quick combos in your hand is like Stoneforge, Sarah Avenger, and everything, then I don't know. The hand is pretty fine. You're beating the slower, my disruption heavy hands. If I have a braids and is it Statocasters and stuff, then you're looking great. One thing that actually really jumped out to me was so I was playing two foot bolts and one lightning bolt. And the foot bolts are kind of because of Delver and mostly elves, but they're obviously great against D&T. But the Sarah Avengers just changes everything. They're really, really strong in this matchup. So I think Sarah Avenger picking up because of true name and stuff. I guess if that trend like takes effect, I think I have to play lightning bolts again, which is quite interesting. Like there was like two or three times I had a football in hand. I had to pair it with the Staticaster post board, but in game ones it was a bit hard.
Yeah.
Also, Rest in Peace was really, really, really good every time you played it. I
Yeah,
think every
there
time you
were a
played it,
couple of times where like I didn't play it, and I'm like, no, I need to focus on other things right now, and just
yeah,
like I
seriously,
have to hope he doesn't have the combo and like build up my board a little bit.
yeah. I think you played it three-ish times, and every time I was like sitting there with a berry, like ready for you to kind of tap out so I can like therapy swords and stuff like that, and then boom, yeah. So that was. I mean, obviously we know it's quite strong, but it was better than expected.
Yeah.
But
So
otherwise, yeah, as we said, it's. I think this deck puts this strain on every deck to have these multiple angles. Like because D&T's clock isn't fast enough to it's mostly just disruption, and I can fight through some disruption. You're not fast enough like a turn one Delver to actually put me under pressure where I have to go for it under like bad circumstances. I can kind of like bide a bit of time if that makes sense.
it does. So what would you recommend to D&T players if they're looking to beat you? The sideboard I have here is kind of a stock-ish sideboard, maybe the Brightling is something else. But if a
Yeah.
D&T player was like, man, these Phoenix players in my local event are bullying me, what would you recommend like changing about this deck list in order to beat them?
I think surgical is just the number one. Like you saw that I was boarding out the therapies, and I went for it without seeing your hand multiple times, and I think it just decides a game. So having like two, maybe even three, I realized that it's hard to have so many slots dedicated to this kind of thing. And Phoenix is not a big part of the metagame, but it's I don't know. I think because as we saw, I have so many cards to bring in because of some splash damage from other matchups as well. Like therapy is a natural thing to take out. I don't always have like a thought and sees to take the surgical first. So I don't know it's just really high impact against the combo, and I think you don't always win the slower games, but you're favored. So you're at least hedging towards the side of the matchup that you have more control over, if that makes sense as well.
That makes a lot of sense to me. People in
Yeah,
the D&T Discord have basically been talking about, you need to have something like Surgical or Tormod's Crypt that is like quick interaction.
yeah.
Um, the
I had someone play a relic versus me the other day, and even on turn two, like you just put them under so much pressure, it's just way too slow. So Tormod Script's good. I think Tormod Script is fantastic against this deck, but specifically from D&T because I'm bringing so much grave artifact hate, it's not as reliable as surgical. I'll have more ways to kill artifacts than discarding your hand.
Yeah, which
But
is really weird because it's a
yeah,
complete inversion of the game one scenario where you might have
complete,
like, oh, if I play this surgical, it might just get thought seized away. So that's like a
absolutely.
really great point.
It's like I want to play Tormod's Crypt in this deck because it's weak against the decks with discard, and they're not bringing in, like, say, Reanimate is not bringing in Wear, Tear, or Replicate against me. So that's where it's going to be better. But yeah, as you said, it's the complete inversion of what you'd expect from game ones and stuff. It's a weird little dynamic, but yeah, I think Tormod's Crypt's going to be pretty easy to just like snipe off if I'm going to combo.
All right.
But yeah, otherwise than that, I think Prelate is stupid good. as we,
Yeah, a second one of those would also be
yeah,
a great supplement to everything that's going
yeah,
on here with my list.
yeah. I think if I saw multiples in like game two, for example, I might then think about bringing in Echoing Truths over something as well. Maybe even more discard because like discard's just such a bad top deck. You want it on turn 1 and 2 only really in this matchup. So
Yeah, those couple of times where I kept like a one land Aether Vial hand and you like ripped it out with Thought Seize.
snipe.
It feels good. It feels
Yeah,
real good.
that was also like a good point for Phoenix players sideboarding, where like I would never name Etherval blind with a therapy, but the Thoughtseize really lets it pick apart. And the information is so big, like that game three after the really long one, I think we both played it very fast and loose. So I felt like I had the tools to win easily actually, but kind of just rushed through stuff. But um I had Creator Maker and Bob in my hand, and I saw the two sources of power shares. I was kind of wishing I had a therapy as well, but had to slow down and stuff. But
Yeah. Also, like, if that was a paper match, that game one went to time.
oh my god, yeah. I can't believe I missed the lethal. I just the turns before I was like counting it up, and I was like, it has the tokens in sets of tens, and I was like, hey, this is a boatload of damage, blah, 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 counting it up. And I was like, okay, I think I missed like one activation, or like, I gave you one more activation on the Brightling because I forgot that it would kill itself or something like that. So I didn't think it was lethal, and then 3 tokens left. You're at 3. Oops. But yeah,
Yeah, I definitely made some small math errors there over the course of things, or like I
yeah.
changed my mind halfway through doing something, and
There was one bit where you left up 3 mana, then blocked with a Stoneforge, where I thought you would just be leaving out bounce Battle Skull, put it back in or something. I can't quite remember.
yeah, there's a lot of blur in that match now.
I'm gonna go back and watch that. That was very cool. I know I was kind of work because I had one lightning bolt in my deck, so all my cantrips were trying to dig for this one lightning bolt so I can bolt my blocker on your Battle Skull thing. And I was like, I can get through in 2 hits with this, but I don't know. There's also like a time where I had 1 Phoenix in the graveyard and 3 in play. I had to try to trade off with your Sarah Avenger twice, and you had the Flicker Wisp and the swords both times.
Yeah,
But I think
that was great. I was very happy about those.
the first one, I was like, no, I should wait till I can get all 4 back to like block with all of them first, just to see. But I don't know. I bring them back so many times. Like, what was it like? Probably 5, 6 times.
Something like that. Yeah.
It's pretty silly. Yeah. Again, it just like shows the power. This deck isn't just like a all-in kind of combo thing. It can do some really grindy things. Like I had a match against Reanimated I remember well, where I beat 2 Chancellors, a Grave Titan, and 4 zombies from the Grave Titan by just bringing back Phoenixes and trading off. Kind of fun.
All right. Well, this was awesome. This was a lot of fun. If people want to ask you some things about Phoenix, either from the Phoenix side or the D&T side, where can people find you?
Yeah, so I made a Phoenix Discord pretty recently. I don't know, maybe we should post that in the chat. Oh, I can come and chat to you after as well.
Perfect.
Or otherwise on MTG The Source, I posted it on there as well. So I started a primer. It's quite out of date, I'm afraid. So I meant to update that soon. But yeah, on there is a link to the Discord where we're chatting about it. We're talking about the Storm version as well and the Thing Nice version. There's so many different like types of Phoenix decks. I still think this Grixis one is good. It's performing the best for me, but there's a lot of exploring to do. Otherwise, on Twitter, White Faces. I sometimes stream. I haven't done for a while. Not really been feeling it, but sometimes twitch.tv/whitefaces as well. I think most places are White Faces. Yeah.
All right. Awesome.
Cool. Thanks for having me on. Been really fun.
Thank you. This was awesome. I'm sure I will see you again soon in the Legacy queues.
Definitely. See you, man.
All right. Good night. All right. So, a couple of stream-related things before I send you off to watch some other Legacy content somewhere else. I kind of want to go and try something a little bit different on Wednesday, just to go and see how it goes. I've been playing a lot of Slay the Spire recently, which is a sort of like roguelike card game, dungeon crawler thing. And I think Magic players would really like it. And I also just want to spend more of my time playing that game. So on Wednesday for giggles, I want to like do a Slay the Spire stream. It'll be from the perspective of like someone who plays Magic and like, hey, should I play this game? Will I like this game? If it goes well, maybe I'll stream some more with it sometime. If it doesn't, we'll just continue back with the normal Magic content. That is sort of the intention of this channel after all. But I'm having a lot of fun playing that game, and I think a lot of you would really like it if you enjoy like the decision makings that like Magic has to offer, and especially if you enjoy other card games like Dominion or Ascension or stuff like that. I think it'll be up on your alley, right up your alley. So I'm going to try that out on Wednesday, stream that for a couple hours, see how it goes. And then on Saturday, I'm not sure what I'm going to be playing. I think I got a donation deck list during the stream. I didn't get the PayPal alert yet. Ah, now I have the PayPal alert. All right, hold on. Let's see what the deck list is. I can just check it real quick, because this is going to be Saturday's stream. All right. So, Baleful Strix, Leovold, Snapcaster, Spellstarter, Sprite, True Name, Click, Vile, Bitter Blossom. I'm going to read the description here. Brainstorm, Violin, Leovold. Oh, dang boy, you dead. This would probably be fun. This looks like shenanigans. I might do a couple of edits here and there, but this looks like it has some potential. Like off the top of my head, like Snapcaster Mage with only 11 instants and sorcery seems a little bit loose, but I respect what this deck is trying to do. So we can probably find some other things to slot in there and make this work. Alright, so Saturday will be Ambush Vile. We'll see how that goes. Should be interesting. Slay the Spire and Magic are very much different games. Like, Slay the Spire is going to be similar to a deck-building game. So, things like Ascension, Dominion, where you start out with the same resources and then you build it over time. It's sort of like a deck-building game that's spliced over an RPG. So, like, you use your cards to, like, fight battles and try to, like, go through dungeons and fight bosses. It's really fun. And I think a lot of you people will like it. So, come check it out on Wednesday if you're interested. If not, I'll see you again on Saturday for some Magic content. Thank you all for joining me tonight. I know this exhibition match has been a long time coming, and I want to thank the people who, like, supported it. I do nothing a lot. Remember, everything gets dumped on YouTube afterwards, so, like, that's A-okay. If you're enjoying this content, please click the follow button. I'm streaming Legacy 3 times a week. I guess 2 times a week this week, because I'm going to, like, cheat on Magic with Slay the Spire, but that's okay. And if you really enjoy my content, please consider doing something to support me financially, such as subscribing to the channel or going and doing a donation deck list. Cheers, folks. I'm going to turn you over to my friend Arkin, who is streaming some Legacy. Good night.